Give him a round.
Thank you for that intro, Rico.
Yes.
It's so great to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me on the show. I'm excited to do my first segment. That was a really great intro. But I'm gonna jump right into my story. Also, by the way, Jason, you forgot one thing when you were mentioning what day it is today. It's Taylor Swift's birthday. So
we did not celebrate Taylor Swift on this channel.
Well, now it's on there.
Can't handle all that fabulousness.
Yes. All those Swifties.
Hey, don't fuck with Swifties. You're gonna have Swifties in the comments on YouTube.
I hope so. I hope so.
Listen, we need more polarization.
Yeah. Bring all the Swifties, bro. Send them a kite.
Yeah, we love you.
All right. But yeah, so this week on Friday, Holland, also known as the Netherlands, is set to begin an experiment where they are licensing and regulating cultivation and transportation of cannabis. Well, a lot of people don't know that. I know those of us that are immersed in regulations and compliance on a day-to-day basis have known that the system that's existed with coffee shops in the Netherlands has existed as tolerated. So basically, they just allow people to go and buy 5 grams at a time from a coffee shop. They have really strict limits of what they're allowed to keep on hand in the shop, and they usually use safe houses nearby where they do daily or hourly drops with cash and product to make sure that they don't violate those legal limits. And this is particularly interesting for a couple reasons. So they're originally going to start with 2 legal growers that will be allowed to supply about 20 coffee shops in the cities of Breda and Tilburg. And then hopefully next year they're planning to expand it to additional cultivators. One cool thing about this is the only system I've seen where the government is actually allowing legal and black market product to be sold on shop shelves through a transition period. I don't think I've seen any legislation that's accounted for how to bridge that gap. Honestly, New York should take some notes here. They might be able to do something a little better than what they're doing. One other interesting part of this is it seems like they've done a full 180 from what their approach was to cannabis, in the past 10 or 15 years. There's been multiple attempts by the Dutch government to crack down on what they call narco-tourism, basically people going to Holland for the purpose of trying, space cakes or cannabis or whatever it is in the coffee shop. They got a lot of pushback from coffee shops because that would obviously crucify their business, and there's no way that they would survive on residents alone. But they had wanted to pass a law that basically said you have to have a resident identification card in order to buy cannabis in coffee shops. So from going from that to now where they're attempting to fully regulate the supply chain, I think is a huge step. I know Jason has some thoughts on this, but the last time they started talking about this, they basically pushed a lot of their distribution, especially for seeds, from Holland to Spain. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. It's also, on a personal note, I got a chance to interview the marijuana policy office for the mayor of Amsterdam's representative when she was in Colorado for a regulatory symposium about 8 years ago, and they were not terribly interested in the concept of licensing and regulating cannabis. So to see where they've come in the past 8 to 10 years, I think is a promising step, and hopefully Spain moves in a similar direction. They currently have a similar system where they tolerate the clubs, but the production is not licensed. So props to Holland, and interested in hearing what everyone else has to say.
I find it interesting how they are integrating, because the reality of how Amsterdam has always worked is like you're most able to get arrested if you're caught purchasing cannabis, where in America it's illegal to sell cannabis, but in Amsterdam it's illegal to purchase cannabis. So I find this very interesting, and especially how you said that they are going to be intertwining the illicit market in regards with their sales, because they have basically chased all of their growers a number of years out of Amsterdam, and they all fled to Spain when they started doing crackdowns on home grows throughout the country. And so this is very interesting, their whole shift. Or should I say swift?
Yeah.
Should I say
I think
swift?
it's really interesting.
Stop that, man. Can we get a poll? Is Jesse or Adam? Can we get a poll going? The Taylor Swift versus Nickelback versus 98 Degrees.
That's not even a competition.
Yeah.
That's not even a competition.
Let's see. I'm interested to see who everyone's gonna pick.
Taylor, I love you. Luke Scarmazzo, tap in with me.
I think
We love you.
There's nothing remotely.
I'm rolling with.
There's nothing remotely attractive about Taylor Swift.
I'm rolling with Nickelback.
In my ears.
98 degrees.
Back on track, guys. Back on track. Soham actually made a really good point too here about New York should take a page out of this book. Is how do we get the people that are in the traditional market, that want to be in the traditional market and survive in the traditional market? Like, where is the bridge and the transition period, and what do those things look like? And I think like that's the easiest thing. Like I don't know why I didn't think of that before. Like, hey, just make it like a moratorium period where anything can be on the shelf, tested, of course, but anything can be on the shelf, whether it's whatever it is. And then after a certain amount of time, they have to go through whatever kind of thing you want them to go through, whatever kind of process you want them to go through. That's kind of like interesting. I don't know if that would work. I'm not saying it would work. I'm just saying it's an interesting thing that maybe some other people should try to put or apply in the States. Who knows? It might work. But
if nothing else, at least they've taken the time to think about it and address the issue. I'm not saying the solution is perfect, but nor has it been anywhere else that we've seen cannabis regulation rolled out. But to see federal regulators actually address the issue of how do we bring legacy operators into a legal market, I think is a really positive sign.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I agree.
But
I agree with
that grace period already does exist in every market that has gone through their transition period. There's the point upon which the new law becomes effective, and whatever that grace period is, that's your time to decide how you're going to transition over. Many people just said, fuck that, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so that existed. It existed. And also the same thing, and not that it worked well in every community, but it did exist to some extent where there's an opportunity for the community to give feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's required. So those periods do exist. Whether folks are paying attention enough and taking advantage of those opportunities is a different story.
The problem that I've
is they always do that just because it's a check of the box. Like, we have to open up community feedback for this many days, or in a meeting this many or this amount of time. And that's just a check off. They don't really consider what the community has to say in a lot of instances, in a lot of local government situations. And we dealt with that tremendously in the 215 era, when we would go to these city hall meetings, and it would be a tremendous outpouring of people. Hundreds of people would speak in favor. One or two would speak in opposition, and the city council would go completely opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would like to say, observing this,
I don't think they become really effective in that sense.
Observing the developments from state to state, like over the years, here in California firsthand,
effective leaders who are listening to the community and not writing their own agenda.
Out in New York.
Let Rico go for a second.
Hold on.
There is a grace period. There has been. And
observing from New York,
this was going to be
California
law in 2018, on January 1st of 2018, we knew for almost 2 years, or at least a year and a half, that it was coming.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, Manny. Let Rico go. Let Rico go.
Communities, what I've seen the issue being is the communities can't agree on what they want. And so they end up going with these asshole prohibitionists, or leaning towards what they want to do, or towards the corporations. The corporations stay on the same page. Mm. You know, if the communities don't talk to each other, and everybody thinks that my plight was worse than yours. We saw that shit firsthand every single city hall meeting here in Los Angeles. Did we not, Jason?
Yeah,
everybody's like, yo,
we practically saw
the Valley had it worse than South Central. South Central had it worse than East LA. East LA had it worse
in New York. Same thing in New York.
Yeah, and everybody, that is the problem, is people from the community can't get on the same page, and they end up going with whatever the corporations say. And it ends up being a bait and switch. You think that at first it's going to be all for the communities, but when these people say, oh yeah, you have to present 5 years worth of taxes that you paid, like what trappers are going to present any taxes paid. You have to show that you have to prove that you run a successful business for at least 2 years. Like, I gotta tell you, I gotta show my receipts from trapping now. Like, it ends up being a bait and switch that nobody can really qualify for. And I think that trying to work with these people and trying to integrate some of these players automatically from the jump into that system is the only way that you're going to mitigate the trap. You're never going to kill the trap. It's always going to be available. But the only way to take some of that power back is to allow them to operate side by side. Like my man Troy always says in the audience, open the damn market up.
Mm-hmm.
Let the people decide who they want to get it from.
This transition period is different too, right? Because they're not forcing every cultivator to immediately gain a license, right? There's only going to be 2 licensed cultivators, but they're not going to kill everybody else out of the market during that time. I don't know. I mean, maybe California for a short period of time where you could have licensed and unlicensed product in the store. But even that, I don't think we've ever seen that anywhere in the States, where they allow the trap brands to sit on the shelf next to the licensed brands, and then we'll slowly transition everybody to the point of being licensed.
Yeah, that only happens in areas where there's not a licensed market, Soham.
Yeah, absolutely.